Hello, everyone. Today is June 16th, 2022. This is the Kubernetes storage SIG meeting. Today we will go over 1.25 planning, and then we have a few things in agenda we can go over. So one thing I want to mention is the enhancement freeze deadline got extended to June 23rd, next Thursday. So we have a little bit more time for the caps to merge. So let me clear this spreadsheet. First one is delegate FS group to CSI driver instead of kubelet. Come on.
Yeah, so Fabio didn't have necessary time frame cycles to do this in 125 time frame, but I have started a CSI spec change proposal. I have a PR open to move the feature from alpha to GA. So I think once that is done, it will be pretty simple to just flip the feature kit. But so I think we'll target this in 126 at this point, but we'll just try to get the CSI spec change done this quarter.
Okay. Thank you. The next one is recover from reset failure. Come on.
Yeah, so I originally wanted to do this, but as you know, the requirement has been changed to have a E2E for alpha to beta, and I don't have any E2E for this one, and I will need a renew like bunch of release of some sidecars to be able to test it so that I can simulate a test failure. Like the guidance we got from SIG release and like Lava Lamp and other people who do the work on this is to use this time to add alpha like E2E rather than try to move it to beta. So that's what we will do this.
Okay, so this one we probably will move this to 126.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we have to use this time to add E2E. So that
Right. Okay. So so pretty yeah. So we should still track it, right? Otherwise, yeah, we still don't have time in next release, right? So
yeah.
All right. Okay. Now for the first one, we don't have any E2 tests remaining, right? This is just it's just the feature gate, or is it?
Yeah, there's in Kubernetes side, it's just a feature get flip, and it should be ready to go.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And the next one is the issues related to assuming the mount points.
Yeah, so there are two PRs, like the item 4 and 5, right? There are two PRs related. One is the skip mount point checking during cleanup mount point, and the other is improved like a checking mount point with a new like a library. They added the API there, like open add to. And both PR, like I have a few more comments, and I think they mostly addressed it. It's basically, yeah, almost ready. There are also other reviewers involved. So I'm basically waiting for the final approval.
Yeah.
I have found like recently I was looking into reconstruction and some other code, and I found some two issues that I wanted to bring up on the same thing. One was that when a pod is deleted and we try to check if there are any mount points left by it. So that code actually, like, it first checks in the actual state of the world whether it is possibly mounted, and then it checks if the volume has left any mount point. So
Mm.
like that seems problematic to me, that it checks explicitly for mount points, because for drivers that don't create mount points, it
Yes.
that
Yeah.
that check
Right.
won't work.
Right. Right. So yeah, this is an issue is not addressed by these two PR. Like I think after this two PR, I'll go over the logic again because they are also changing some of the logic related when doing the cleanup one point, and then we can work on that specific issue after these two merged.
And one more issue I found out was what was it? Sorry.
You
Yeah.
actually want to add if you have those issues, can you add it somewhere in the chat? Maybe we can.
I think I was just reviewing the code and I found this.
Okay.
So I have to I think I should file issues. And one more check was like, when we are reconstructing the volume during the reconstruction, and I don't know if anybody else saw this, but there is a problem, and the problem is that there's a code that checks if the volume existence in operation, and it checks if it's like it has a code like reconstruction fails if the volume is a file system type and attacher is not nil, then it must create mount points. So basically, like, the code assumes that if your plugin has an attacher, then it must create mount points. That seems like, I don't know if that is right, but that seems not very correct to me. So I'll probably file these two issues as well, like both of these issues is talked about.
Hemant, does that apply to raw block too?
Thankfully, no, actually. I think that for the
Okay.
raw block, it just checks if the symlink exists. So for raw block, it just checks if the symlink exists, and yeah.
Because I'm trying to think of an example of how you could have a non-raw block volume without a mount. Can you give an example of how that could happen?
Like certain CSI driver would just probably create like place like for example, entry host path driver doesn't create mount points. The CSI host path does create, because in the node publish it creates a bind mount. But I could see cases where, like, do they have to, like, if the CSI spec doesn't say that the node publish path has to be a mount point, right?
I think it does say that actually.
It cannot, because
Yeah.
anyways.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if someone is doing something that the spec doesn't allow and then it works anyways. But my reading of the spec was that, like, it has to be a mount point. So I don't know. I guess it would just be good to have a specific case in mind of where this is failing, and so that we're not just chasing a ghost that doesn't exist.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm just, I'm saying that I was thinking that it may not be a mount point, because obviously the CSI spec is operating system agnostic. So it may, like, my reading of it doesn't say that it has to be a mount point, but it just says it has to be accessible. So it will be the path at which the volume will be published, and one can infer that it's a mount point, but
Right. So we can talk more details offline. So, but basically, the mount point check is for like safety, right? We don't want to delete the pods without clean up the mount points and lose the cause data corruption. So that's for the protection of
yeah,
data.
the thing is that reconstruction doesn't work if your volume didn't create a mount point, which seemed a little bit strange to me. So, like,
so like I mentioned, so there those PRs change some logic in the cleanup mount point, and then after that we'll have more like checking on the reconstruction, like that part.
Okay, yeah, I will file maybe 2 separate issues, one about the pod deletion and one about reconstruction.
There might be some issue already exist, but yeah, I think it's okay to find new ones.
I'll check if there's already one. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thanks. So, okay, so I'll just mark those both as almost ready, and then Haman will open new issues. This one should be done. And next one is this CSI Ephemeral volume. Is Jonathan here?
Yeah, so I filed a PR to update the cap, and Jan and Hamat both approved it. So I'm just waiting on PRR approval now.
And Sat, if you are here, you are assigned as approver of that cap. So if you could please approve it.
Yep, I'll take a look.
Okay, thanks.
Can you ping that to me in chat, or can someone ping that?
Yeah, I think I did.
Sounds good. I'll dig it up.
Maybe I didn't. Sorry.
This is pretty. This might be old. But this is okay. All right, moving on to the next. Local ephemeral storage resource management. Xing, you want to talk about this?
Yes, so the CAP and the PR file is submitted, and yeah, waiting for review.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll take a look. You also have you have PRR reviewer, right?
Yeah.
They started looking at it as well. Okay.
Yeah, someone pinged me about that file, so I think he is aware. Like I updated.
Okay.
To him. Yeah.
All right. Thanks. And next one, working group. So this I basically I have that cap updated. I think need to be reviewed. But probably I think we talked about this one a little bit in the CSI implementation meeting. Looks like Patrick actually has a proposal that has a different design, which is not using the two objects like the PDPDC type of model, but just using one object for dynamically provision resources. So I need to take a look and see if we can use that. Because right now in this updated cap, I have like volume group and volume group content. It's basically two resource similar to the PDPDC and the volume snapshot content model. So I'll take a look at that. Okay, so next, I think the next two marked as done. So I think I don't have to talk about those. Next one is PVC volume snapshot namespace transfer. Hey, Masaki.
Yes, we close this transfer cap and.
Oh, it's already closed?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think, yeah, we've closed.
Sure.
And yeah, we are focusing on the cross namespace.
All right, I'll just
Snapshot.
All right, can you talk about the next one? Provision volumes from cross namespace snapshot PVC.
Yeah, I'm waiting for approval. Thank you for your review.
Oh, okay. Did you get a API? Did the team get a chance to review that?
You assigned team, but I haven't got any comments on this cap.
You may want to ping him, just say you used the, what is that, reference grant, right?
Yeah.
Because I think he's familiar with that. Maybe just tell him that you're using that. He's like to see what he think of that. Is that itself is still alpha, right? That's one uncertainty, right? We are using something that is still alpha.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. And next one, Cesar Volume House. Right, so we're targeting beta. Yeah, actually, I think Hamaj mentioned this one. I forgot to mention this one earlier. Basically, there is this new requirement that we, if we want to move a cap to beta, then we need to have to show merge the E2E tests in that cap for the cap to merge. So now this was not what we expected before. Now we initially thought the test will come later. So so we are trying to add a test in. So we have 1 week, see if we can get test added and merged before the cap merge deadline. Yeah, so that's the status of this. In the next one, volume populator. So Ben, are we doing anything for this one?
The only activity in this cycle is to help promote things that use populators like the cross namespace snapshot stuff and any other populators that we become aware of.
Okay. All right, thank you. Oh, and also this one, right? The one that this one, the provision volumes on cross namespace. That's one potential adoption of this. Next one, Cozy. So actually the cap for Cozy just got merged. So that's actually really good news. So basically now we need to update the implementation based on the new cap. Next one is the change block tracking. Is Fan here or Ivan? Okay. Yeah, so the cap is submitted. It's a pretty big cap. Yeah, but they actually addressed the comments that got earlier. And yesterday we reviewed it in the data protection group meeting, and there are some new comments that they are working on addressing those. So obviously this is a pretty big cap, so need reviews. Yeah, so Sad, Michelle, Yang, if you have time to review this, let's take a look.
Will do.
Thanks.
Are they going to do another follow-up meeting or just offline?
Yeah, that's maybe a good idea. We could schedule another one.
Yeah, either way is okay. We have the upcoming CSI meeting. If they want to reuse that, we can do that.
Okay, so let me check with them.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, the only thing, yeah, I think it's probably it's too tight. This is a big cap. It's just 1 week, but yeah, I should have a pin to you folks yes before yesterday's meeting. So yeah, so let me check with them just to see if we want to schedule a one-off meeting just for this one. Otherwise, we can use the CSI meeting or the next data protection meeting.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Next one is the runtime assisted mounting.
Hey,
Please.
so we had a meeting last week with Ben, Jan, and Michelle,
Okay.
and got some feedback. So initially, the KEP in its current state, it kind of tries to focus on a model where every CSI plugin knows how to interact with every special micro VM runtime, which was not desirable. So the feedback was mainly to come up with a more generic, potentially a proxy-based mechanism. So this quarter, the plan would be to kind of explore that, prototype it with at least Kata, and then integrate that into the KEP, as well as work on the CSI side changes.
So are we not targeting alpha, you're saying?
No, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Is there meeting note?
It's kind of an ad hoc meeting, but I can
no.
capture findings in a doc.
No, yeah, it's okay.
And
Yeah.
in the
Next one is the CSI proxy for Windows transition to privileged containers. This is a design. Is my ratio here or Gene Deep? What's the status of this? So last time says need a volunteer.
From Mauricio said he has not yet got time to work on that, but we might consider to find someone like an intern to do this. But if anyone like from community want to help, that would be also great.
Okay. All right. So if there's anyone who are interested in working on this, please let Jean, Deep, or Marisha know. Next one is a node expansion secret. Is Humble here? So I think this one
this time is pretty late for him.
Yeah. Sometimes he occasionally joins, so I just want to check. Yeah, so this one is actually already merged, and then he also just updated the cap with this new test plan section. So I think this is this is actually done. I think the only thing would be documentation. Yeah. So PR done. Docs. Next one is the secure Linux relabeling with amount options. Yang?
So I have a Bricket Cap merged and I am waiting for API review.
And this is your PR, right? PR needs API review. Is that right?
Yes.
Or is a cabin? It's always, we are right now only talking about the one. So you basically already have this one also.
Yes.
PR itself.
One.
All right, thank you. And next one is CSM migration. Core to GA. Is Java here or Matt? Michelle? Hello?
I need to double check, but he did update the cap, and I think that merged. But yeah, I'll double check the status of it.
Okay. Thanks. So I think it should be started since the cap is merged. So started. And vSphere, yeah, so vSphere, the Divya submitted PR and updated this new test sections that is merged. I believe Hamad, you have a comment. I think he submitted another PR for that.
Yeah, we need to have the CSI test suite, not test suite, but the storage test suite merge, run and green with migration enable and without migration enable using the entry PVs, not like the CSI PVs. I think, yeah, that's
Okay.
focused. Yeah.
So yeah, can you just can you review his the cap?
Yeah, I did review his follow-up PR. I think you
okay.
need to approve it.
Oh, you're fine with that? Then I'll
Yeah.
approve it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. And next one is CSM migration Azure file. Okay, so this one I believe we're delaying this one, right? Right, so this one we have delay because we're waiting for the FS scripting.
Do we have someone working on the FS group feature that's blocking this?
Hemant?
So I have a PR open for CSI spec change. That's the main thing actually. Like, and then like we had Fabio in this release, but he got busy. So, but in Kubernetes side is just literally a feature flag switch. But once the CSI spec change is approved.
Oh, but CSS spec, it's just moving from alpha to GA, right? So basically waiting for us to, so that should not be a big problem, I guess.
I already have a PR out that for that.
Oh,
James,
then maybe have you Saad? Maybe Saad can take a look of that.
James,
does
James
James have any
reviewed it.
problem? Is it because it's just it's not like we're adding anything new, right? It's just moving. Does he have any concerns?
Yeah, the concern he had was like when we drop alpha annotation from the CSS, from the gRPC protocol, does it causes any backward compatibility issues? I think it does not, but I have not verified it. I think we did something similar for the capacity tracking alpha fields and nobody complained, so it should be okay.
Or just just switching the flag itself. Yeah, that should not be a problem.
Yeah, but that's his only concern,
It's
James.
not even, it's not like even a feature gate or it's not even like a different version of something, right? Same.
He just worried how the files are generated and if it like it makes any difference in on the wire, that sort of thing.
Okay. Oh, sorry, taking the right one. Oh, yes. Okay, so this one we probably want to say oh, this is okay, I'll just leave it like this. And next one is the GCE, CSM migration GCE moving to GA. Matt, Saad, Michelle. So I see a cap. Cap is merged. Is that?
Yes, I believe it's targeting GA and the cap has merged.
Okay.
I need to check on the rest of the status.
Okay. Thanks. So it started. And next one is system migration AWS, also moving to GA. Yeah, so the cap is also merged, but I think he merged this one pretty early. Then we just have this new requirement for the test section. So I think he's going to submit another PR to add that test plan section. And next one is the Ceph RBD, basically moving to beta off by default. So I think Humble probably still not here yet. So so the cap is merged. So he added the test section there. And the next one is CSM migration FFS. Yeah, so this one also, the cap also is merged. And CSM migration Portworx also moving to beta off by default. So this one is the same. The cap is also merged. basically they're all updated with that new test plan section. Oh, so I added this one. So this one basically, there was a question about this, the Gluster FS entry plugin on Slack by Dims. There was an issue that opened for this one like a year ago, and Humble basically went to ask people in that Gluster FS community to see if this one can be deprecated or if there is a plan to do CSI migration. He has not got response on that one, and there's an issue. There's an issue with this. Right. So there's this Hecate. So with this library that it is used by GlassJFS, but this one has some problems, and he submitted PR trying to fix that, but they just not merged yet. It's been there for a very long time. So so Humble is saying that he's checking with this Kadalu project maintainer to see if they want to do CSI migration. And he was suggesting to deprecate this one in the next release. So he was talking about 1.26. So that's what he was talking about. So Saad, Michelle, yeah. You guys okay?
Yeah, I
with
guess
this?
if the Gluster community, does not want to update their dependencies, and I think we need to clean up our dependencies is the first thing. But if they're not willing to sort of keep it updated, then yeah, I think that's a sign that we need to deprecate this.
Right. So right, say deprecation in upcoming is that one. Okay, let me see, the 1.26, 1.25, 1.26. Okay, preferred version is 1.26. All right, so I'll be okay. We just wait until 1.26. That's next release, basically.
Yeah, I think we just need to send out the right emails and communication
Okay.
to make sure no one is surprised. Other than that, sounds good to me.
All right. Okay. Thank you. So I'll just have this one here so that we can track this. I'll say.
Is there anybody on the call that cares about this, Gluster FS, or whether? Okay, thanks.
I think Humble probably is the one who is kind of, because he was trying to, he actually submitted a PR, but just that one just couldn't get merged, basically. He's trying to fix that issue. So.
Got it. Okay.
All right, thanks. Next one, always honor reclaim policy. So this one we are basically moving this one to 1.26. So we're actually not moving to beta in this release. And control volume mode conversion. This one is the same thing. We're going to wait until 1.26 to move to beta. And next one is a secret protection. It's Masaki, right?
Yep, it's the design for this release.
Okay.
And yeah, for in-use protection, it is tracked for this release to be alpha.
Okay. How is that your cap is being
not yet merged. Yeah, I'm working on it.
This is basically the next one, the in-use production. That's the one owned by SIG API machinery. Yeah. Okay, so this is reviewed. Okay, thanks. And non-graceful no shutdown. So yeah, so this one is the same thing. So we are trying to move to beta, but then this, because of this requirement for the E2E tests, so we're working on E2E tests and trying to get it in by the cap merge deadline. So next one is PVC created by stateful set will not be auto removed. Are we doing anything for this one? Is Matt here? Michelle, do you know what are we staying off, or are we actually doing anything for this?
I'll need to sync up with Matt. I think he may not have had time to push this one, or he wanted more time for testing.
Okay, yeah, because this is the cap merge is actually next week, and also it's already past the PRR deadline, right? So if he's not targeting, then it's probably too late already. And also this is targeting, if it's moving to beta now, we also have this new requirement for the E2E test. I'm not sure if he has E2E test in place. Yeah, so okay. And the next one is the volume expansion for a stateful set. I have not heard from Shalini about this one, so I don't know.
Does this need a new owner, or
If someone is interested, and yeah,
there
please,
has been
feedback.
some?
Yeah, I have
posted-
not heard. You talked to him last time, right? It's been a while. Is that?
Yeah, I talked to her a while back and she's not responding. There was somebody posted a proof of concept code in some PR somewhere.
Yes,
don't know
I
if-
see that one. Yeah, but she has now responded back to that pin on the PR.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine if anyone want to pick it up, because I also she seems to be busy, so I also couldn't get any update from her. The last time I heard was you said so basically said you chatted, but there were a few issues kind of hard to resolve, or unresolved issues still, basically, right?
Yeah,
After
yeah,
last
yeah.
status, yeah.
Yeah.
And then so the person who submitted the POC code, did this person try to address those unresolved issue?
No, I think no.
Okay.
I'm not I don't think so. I'll have to, but I haven't, like, he has answered it, but there are some issues that I think even not captured in the cap comments.
Okay. So
should
maybe
add.
you can see if that person who did the POC, to see if that person is interested in picking it up as well.
Okay.
That's a possibility.
Okay.
Okay, and so the next one is the better default storage class. Yeah.
We got cap merged.
Okay.
And that's basically it.
Okay. Thanks. And the next one is a handle per volume CSI driver capabilities. So Ben, you want to talk about this?
Yes, I do. So we've had 2 meetings on this subject so far. Wait, am I off mute? Yeah, okay. And we're slowly gravitating towards the idea of some kind of sub-volume type in addition to the CSI driver type that would be persisted on the CO side in addition to the CSI driver type, and then act as a key to all kinds of other features. That seems to be the least painful way to actually solve these problems. It's still fairly unappealing given the amount of work it would mean for Kubernetes in particular, but the only other reasonable alternative that we see is just not solving the problems. So
it persists on what you're saying, CO side or CSI side? CSI side?
Well, yeah, but the idea is we would have to change the CSI spec so that each volume would have some opaque subtype, which would just be a string determined by the CSI driver. And the CO would be obligated to remember the type for every volume because it would matter for other CSI calls. And the backwards compatibility would be that you could always leave this field empty if you don't have subtypes. But it would require that Kubernetes would have to store this. It would require communication between kubelet and the scheduler to take account of this, for things like the node volume limit. And it would mean a lot of necessary changes on the Kubernetes side to take advantage of that particular enhancement. But it's the only way that we could, in a reasonable time frame, actually address the underlying problem, which is CSI drivers have real different volume types within them. It's just a reality that's not captured by the current abstraction. And so we can either choose to continue living in that world and suffer the pain, or explicitly track some concept of a volume subtype, and just have that carried around with the volume for its lifetime. So we're having these meetings every Tuesday. That's where the discussion stands today. If other people have other ideas, please come. I don't know if we have time on this meeting to get into any of the details, but that's where the discussion stands now, and we're really looking for more ideas and maybe help implementing it if it turns out this is the right way to go.
So
but I'm also open.
You're going to write down some details on the option 2 or 3, right? That we talked about in last meeting, and then we can go over that in next meeting.
Yeah, so I wrote down notes on Tuesday after the meeting that captured the discussion, and the plan going into the meeting next week would be to have some kind of a straw man, and I'll have to come up with that. But yeah, the combination of options 2 and 3 that we seem to be steering towards is some formal concept of a volume subtype that would exist at the CSI layer. The SP would generate it, the CO would store it, and the use of that subtype would unlock all kinds of extra abilities. So the CO could understand what the specific capabilities of the specific volume it was dealing with actually were. It would help with just about every use case I can think of, except for potentially the available capacity ones, because when the available capacity ones, you don't have a volume yet, so you can't talk about the subtype. But I think we already have a fairly good implementation for that problem. We can talk about it as well. So yeah, that's where things stand. Please come to the Tuesday meeting if you want to contribute to that.
I just want to say that, at least for me, I have not mentally ruled out option A, but we can talk that in.
Well, no, I mean, option A is still an option, but I think we agreed that it's very expensive up front, and you would see absolutely no progress for approximately a year after doing a bunch of work, and even then, it might still not solve the problem because vendors might just choose not to do it. So we can consider it, but you'd have to convince the rest of us that it's worth doing all that work for potentially no payoff.
No, I mean, okay, we can go in the details, but basically make it easier to run different volume types within the
yeah. So the things that we would have to do for option 1 to work are things we should do anyways. I do agree with that.
And also make it easier to migrate. If a PB was created with like csi.blah.com some name, then and it wants to change it. I mean, I had a talk with Jan before this call, how feasible it is, and he has concerns, but work on maybe we should not rule those out of hand right away.
So I tried to capture this in my notes, and what I said was the things that we would have to do for option 1 are things that we should do anyways. In particular, find a way for node plugins not to consume a lot of memory on the node if they're not in use. So like some mechanism for kubelet to spin up and spin down node plugins as needed would be a big memory saver in situations where you had a large number of node plugins, which you would definitely have if you went down option number 1. And things like economizing on sidecars and making it easier to, deploy multiple CSI drivers without a bajillion sidecars. That's a valuable whether or not we do option 1. The migration, yeah, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on that, because the ability to, we have heard of vendors coming in saying like, hey, I want to change my CSI driver name because my company got acquired or something like that. And it's like, well, that's something that we should probably have a way to do, but we don't. So that, yeah, that would fall under the category of migration. But I guess my point is, we could pursue all of those and we spend a year doing so, and then people could still say, well, I'm not going to redesign my CSI driver to do that to solve the subtype problem, and then you still haven't solved the problem. So we should do those things, but if we're interested in solving the problems related to volume subtypes, I think we need to directly solve that problem. Otherwise, nothing will happen for at least a year.
Okay, thanks, Ben. So we can talk more in next Tuesday's meeting. Okay, so that's all on that spreadsheet. And we have a few things. Let's see, it's just, I copied this from last meeting, so I'm not sure if the person who wrote this down is in this meeting. Let's see, can't make the meeting. I'm not sure if that refers to today's meeting. This Philip is the so whoever wrote this down, are you here? If not, then we'll just come to the next meeting. And next one is there's a note from Gary Sigmund. Is Gary here? Okay, does not look like he's here. Because this one also, I don't know if he just want to let people know about this, or if he want to. Oh, okay. So it looks like this is actually today. Okay, so I think he said is a co-presenter of this talk. He's a Goldman Sachs engineer at a workshop on June 16th, which is today. So there's a link here if you are interested. It's about Goldman Sachs using Restore FSCSI and OpenShift SRO to deploy software to 100,000 machines globally. Okay, yeah. So I'm not going to say more to next meeting because this is actually happening today. So if you are interested, you can join this talk. You can listen to this talk. The link is here. And for this one, I think I'll just add a note here since we already talked about this one. So we're going to deprecate in 1.26. So if anyone have concerns, then please come up with the CSM migration plan. So either we'll deprecate, or we can of course do a CSM migration if there's someone willing to working on that. Okay. Are there anything else anyone want to discuss today? If not, that's it for today. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks. Take care.